So I have been working really hard to get all of my aquariums on the top row of the fish wall looking really, really good. And at the moment, I'm so pleased with how everything's going. We've got a shrimp tank, better tank, and then these, oh, careful, they're coming out. Silver tip tetra, sort of biotope style, so completely different things going on. And it's now time to start on this side of the wall. First of all though, before we get started, I want to make some adjustments. We've got 3 Amazon puffers in this area, and they've been doing really well in a smaller tank because they were in a 4 foot, which is just too big for them really. Putting on loads of size, doing good. I'm going to move them out of here because we want to change this tank. They're going in a little bit of a bigger tank, but one that's over there. So when you're moving Amazon puffers, you need to make sure that they stay underwater at all times. They will try and blow up, which is fine if they're in water, but if they're out of water, they can suck air in, and that could cause blockages and things. The body isn't designed for air to fill them, it's designed for water, so keep them submerged. Yay! Stress-free. Didn't even blow up. Go on. There we go. They look good in there.
Yeah, they seem very happy.
They need a feed. You can see like, but as soon as they've had a feed, they go massive like bellies do. And make you feel comfortable as well. What I like to do is put the frozen cubes in a hole because it forces them to tear them up and it gives them their like predatory instincts. There we go. They actually like hunt it then as it blows around. Also good for their teeth as well to have something like hard to have a go on. So today's video is sponsored by API and Aquarian. So throughout the video, I'm going to be using a variety of products, which I'll explain in more detail as I use them. We're going to be using Leaf Zone to make sure that our plants stay all lush and healthy. Aqua Essential for making sure that our water is completely safe for the fish. Aqua Essential, it's essential. Quick Start to make sure that there's enough beneficial bacteria for our fish going into new aquariums. AccuClear, root tabs to make sure that our plants grow luscious in a substrate. The Freshwater Master Test Kit to make sure that all our water is safe at all times for our fish. And a range of food from Aquarian to feed our fish as well. These guys are going nuts. Should probably give them some stuff. There you go. These guys eat so much of this, hence why they're growing so great. So thanks once again to API and Aquarian for sponsoring this video. Back to the build. Right, puffer's all sorted, tank is empty. Time to clean the whole thing out, and we've got to scrape the background off and clean it. heard something crack. I think it was a piece of sand. So the point of these tanks on the top row is like simplicity, and that's what we're going for today. So imagine this is your first like guppy tank. Most people, when they first start the hobby, they attract to the guppies. They look absolutely gorgeous. And we've got a few dotted around in the studio ourselves, especially some up in the storage tanks, which is, you know, while we're creating this one. So this tank is ideal as well because it's quite typical for a first tank size. It doesn't have to be this particular size. It can be something similar to it, maybe a little longer and shallower. You know, as long as you've got a decent amount of volume for about 5 guppies, I would say. You want to go for 3 females, 2 males. Don't worry, they're going to breed crazy fast. They always do. But this is a great starter tank, and it just allows you to keep overall costs down. The light you use is going to be cheaper, the filter's smaller, the hardscape you're going to use is smaller as well, and less of it. But we're going to keep it nice and simple, but really, really interesting, and something that really focuses on the fish as well. Now, you might have noticed that I pulled out the sponge filter from this tank and I've placed it in here, just to keep it fresh and keep it going, keep all the bacteria that's on the sponge alive and ready to go straight into our new tank. You might not have that, you might not have a sponge filter, you don't need to. With this size tank, you can get a little internal one, a little dark one at the back, pushes the water around, and then all the bacteria is going to live in the little cartridge and all over the surfaces of everything in the aquarium. This isn't the greatest example, and that's why we're really doing all of these tanks, because, you know, I've kind of neglected them a little bit and just treated them solely as storage tanks, whereas I want them to all be displays, which is why we're working our way all the way through. Now, lighting, we've got strips that are inserted into the gap between each racking layer, level. Very, very basic, very cheap, but they give a decent amount of light. Now for the plants I'm gonna go for, we don't need crazy high light. I'm not putting CO2 or any of those sort of extra special things in it, so we don't need crazy high lighting, and you won't either. It's your first planted guppy tank. You don't need to start by spending thousands of pounds worth of equipment if you're not even sure yet if you're going to get on with it. I understand, I was in the same position a long time ago. Buying plants was expensive, and I didn't want to like just, you know, start spending tons of money before I knew I could do it. So this is a really good way of starting. So for this one, I'm going to keep it super simple. I don't want to get anyone who's like put off by a complicated substrate system. And I've got just the thing right here. So this is basically like a coarse sand or a fine gravel. It's pretty inert, there's nothing in it. I think it's like crushed lava rock. So it will act to, you know, harbour beneficial bacteria and things. And I'm just gonna sprinkle it everywhere. Just a little thin layer, nice decorative surface. So this layer here is not going to have any nutrients under it, so you don't really plant into it. If you're interested in doing something like that, then you can easily go and have a look at some of my other videos which set up full nutrient substrate systems so plant roots can grow into them. This will eventually harbour like nutrients from the waste from the fish, like making its way down, but to start with it's going to be like inert, which means, you know, no nutrients. There we go, that's all we need, just a little thin layer. Then we can focus on pieces of wood and rock in there that we can put plants on that grow really well in those conditions. So now assume I'm in the shop, like you would be in the shop. What piece of wood are you going to buy? Now when people first do something like this, they tend to think, I don't know, just like, they tend to grab like a couple of pieces like this and think they're going to get a great scape. And then you get it back to your tank and you do that with some little pebbles in there or something, and it just, I mean, it could work, I suppose, if you just covered the whole thing in plants, but see what I'm getting at? Like the sense of scale in there is, because you've got such a small piece versus the size tank, it just kind of ruins it all. So I always tend to go for oversized pieces. So I've fished out.
Hey.
You didn't even know I was going to say that.
No.
Fished out this piece, look. And because I put it low, covers like almost the whole area. You bring it right to this side. And then I've got this other piece to create height that can, maybe like that, maybe around a bit. There we go. Look at that. Don't get that lodged for the minute. I will glue it, but does that look good? Yeah, so straight away you're just getting this big sense of scale with it. Put some rocks here that we can place as mosses and different nubius and things, some ferns in and amongst it, and straight away you've got full height of the aquarium, so your eyes aren't just drawn to that tiny piece of wood in the middle. So what I need to do now is just make sure this is all glued together using these. So yeah, I've got a super glue gel, and then I've got a reactor spray, and I'm just gonna get some contact points on the wood together, and then maybe a couple of little rocks in front of it as well, and then that should lock everything down. Yeah, so there's a little bit of a gap between the two pieces of wood that's kind of making it hard to, like the contact points are so small, so I'm gonna pack the gap with a bit of tissue and then use the liquid super glue, like sort of absorb it with it, and that'll actually make that contact a bit better. Sometimes you just gotta do that. And as always, for those of you who don't know, don't worry about using super glue in your aquariums, it's absolutely fine. Basically it becomes a plastic and it's inert and safe for fish, shrimp, plants, snails, everything.
What rocks are you gonna go for?
No, I like the Australian.
What rocks are you gonna go for, mate? I'm gonna go Australian today.
I'm not entirely sure, but we need something we need quite a few of. You know I love a pebble.
You do love a pebble.
I've done a pebble recently. We've got a lot of dragonstone and it does give us options. But for guppies, they do like harder water or tend to do a little bit better in it. Got the lava rock.
Oh, the black one?
Yeah, so I can chip it up as well for smaller pieces. I basically want loads of little mini things that I can stick stuff to.
Yeah, the lava rocks. I've been eyeing that up.
Let's give it a go. We can break it up as well. Right, don't forget your safety specs / glasses.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
What?
Hold the phone. You can borrow my safety come ski goggles.
Oh, you said hold the phone.
Oh. Very good. Excellent. Double protection. Double wrapped. It's exactly what I... You need safety goggles to put... You need safety to...
Oh, these are good.
Yeah.
These are for skiing, aren't they?
They're proper safety goggles. Oh. They just protect you all round.
But you're not protected. It's fine.
I'll just close my eyes.
Okay.
Oh gosh. Okay, guys.
Yes. Good thing is it breaks quite easy. Yes. Ow! My knees!
Next time we shall wear knee pads and helmets.
There we go, look, we've got nice little ranges of different things. Good selection. Ooh.
I think you should keep them on.
Very uncomfortable.
Dangerous work. Oh yeah, nothing health and safety is comfortable.
No, it's not, is it? Start off with the big ones. Right, start off with the big ones. Biggest pieces in. That's ugly. Good piece. I think that's good. Hard, so hard to see from the side. Yeah. That's not moving anywhere now. I've left a nice section at the back here as well for the filter to be able to sit into. So that'll keep this whole area open and looking nice. Now we can start adding some plants to it. This is when it's gonna come alive. So I'm predominantly going for like epiphyte plants in this one. Loads and loads of different ones I want. It's gonna look really cool. But if you wanted to make this like an actual planted tank at a later date, you can. You can just add more of your substrate and then you could add in some root tabs from API. This is basically what I use on all builds. So once I've normally set up the system, I like place the root tabs exactly where I'm going to be putting plants as well, and it just adds all the extra nutrients that the roots are going to need. So for this one, I'm not putting any plants in the substrate, so I don't want to waste them. But if later on, you know, I want to change it, you can at a later date. That's what's the great thing about root tabs is you can make something inert, like this gravel, become like nutrified, contain nutrients.
So if you do decide to do that, because there's no substrate, how often should you replenish the root tabs in order to keep your plants growing?
I mean, every sort of tank is going to be a little bit different. I mean, the packet suggests that once a month you sort of fertilize those areas. So I would go with that as a baseline, but you might find you need a bit more, you might find you need a bit less, depending on the amount of plants you've got using the substrate. But yeah, I'd go once a month. You can't go wrong with that then. So because we're adding plants that like don't need to be planted, just placed in on the scape, I think it'd be quite nice now to move it up to the area we're actually going to do it in, fill it up, and then we can see exactly how they're sitting as we put them in. Just the beauty of what we're doing next is that you can shuffle stuff around wherever you want it. You can put some colors there, some colors there. So yeah, let's get it up there. There we go. Up here you can see much better the dramatic shadows and things. It will sort of lighten in a minute as well, the shadows, once it's full of water. So I'm now going to fill this tank up with water, and it's tap water. I fill up the water butt first and then fill from there because it gets to room temperature. So I'm going to be sticking in API's Aqua Essential. So what this does is it detoxifies ammonia, nitrite and nitrate at higher concentrations if you've got like a problem going on in your tank. But what I'm going to be using it for is removing the chlorine, chlorines and heavy metals from the tap water. Now, depending on where you are in the world, you can have more of any of those. Mine isn't too bad, but I still don't want to take any chances, so I'll get that in the water butt.
Look at this mess.
So obviously give your balls a good shake. Now for this size amount of water, I need a whole cap full.
How big's your butt?
I think that's 200 litres. So like a 150 litre butt, so a whole cap full in that. I mean, this is going to last a long time for even me, but if you're at home with like one tank, this is going to last you a long time. So really good concentration, good value for money, totally worth it. Aqua Essential.
Oh.
Right, as you can see in that time lapse, the buoyancy of the wood has lifted it, so I can hopefully put this on without it snapping to pieces. I've got a rock just to leave on the top for the time being. And then like by tomorrow, it should have waterlogged enough that it's no longer buoyant. It should be okay, let's make sure that's safe. Yeah, she's not going anywhere. Cool.
Come back tomorrow morning.
Yeah, and then we...
Just a pool full of water.
I mean, if it happens, it happens. There's no livestock in it. It won't happen. Anyway, I can now put the filter across, which we've kept in here. Tell you what I'll do though. Keep the sponge in there. Give all this a clean out, so there's nothing getting transferred. We can put the filter in as well, get nice and clean, get some AquaClear in, and then by the morning, it should be golden. Yuck.
Golden?
No, good.
Ah.
Like, you know.
Clean as a whistle.
So many of you have seen me use this before. At the moment, the slight haze we're seeing in the water is because of like fine dust particles just circulating around. What this does is it like binds them together, some sort of atom magic, and then it'll go into the filter, the sponge, and then we just take the sponge out and clean it, and it basically gets rid of them all. So you do need something fine to catch this, but it works so well. Shake it as usual. And you do not need a lot of it, especially for this size tank. So look at this, ready? This is all I need of the AquaClear. That's it.
What? Is that it?
That's it. So it's a big bottle again, considering the amount you use. As with all API products, you just get real good value for money, and they last for ages. Like, I would just get the kit of everything and you're sorted. Unless you've got a million planted tanks, then Leaf Zone, which we'll get onto later, is one that you'll need a bit more regularly, and root tabs essentially, but the rest of it is all really long lasting. Right, it's a new day. As you can see, everything's crystal clear. I'm hoping the wood is now like absorbed enough water that it stays down. I'm gonna be really careful because I don't, oh, it's moving. Is it proper? No, that is very floaty still. Okay, that rock is not gonna be staying there, so I need to sort of pin it with something from the back that will lean against it, which needs to be of decent size. Something like that's quite good, look. It's quite flat, which means I can get it down the back, slide it down and lean it up against that. Hopefully it will work. I actually need another rock underneath it to give us some height. It doesn't matter if it covers up a bit the inside, because I can hide it with like plants as well. A bit of lava rock might work well. I'm so worried about breaking it all apart. It'll all float. Speaking of which.
I think that'll be enough.
We'll soon find out.
That's a very good point. Ah,
Like I say, it doesn't look too bad actually, does it? Even with the bit of rock there. It's a ledge to actually glue some stuff on. Pushed a load of the stones forward there. I just want a nice little thin layer at the front. Just think it'll make it look real tidy. Cool, I've sort of messed up the water a little bit, but it's not too bad. Right, the only thing is that I've got some really nice trident Java fern coming from Denelay plants. It's arriving today. So I'm gonna save some spaces for that, but I can use some other plants dotted around in different areas. I just want a complete mix of epiphyte plants. We've got loads to choose from around the studio as well. So this tank here, I set up a long time ago. It's kind of the inspiration for this tank, to be honest. So there's quite a few little bits and bobs in here that are really nice. Look at that. I'll call it that Anubias. So that's an Anubias Nana, which is, you know, quite a little bit bigger than the petite version, but I think in this tank, the odd one piece that's big like that would be good. And this is where all the little pieces of lava rock that we broke up earlier are gonna come into play. Because what we can do is use them, get rid of any bad leaves. That's a bad leaf. We can use them to glue our like epiphytes to, and we can literally place them wherever we want. That's a really good looking plant. Not that bit. Brand new leaves coming as well. Awesome. And the way we do it, well, I like to anyway, is get your glue, stick it to the rhizome. It doesn't damage the plant at all. I've got a little reactor here. Squirt of it on there, and it basically means that when I stick that to it, all the glue's going to go hard really, really quickly. You don't have to use the reactor. If you do, it just makes the process way faster. There we go, look, already done. And then just like usual, aim to put your plants at like the mid-ground height, goes in the mid-ground. And like that one looks pretty nice in this little section. And then what we can continue doing now is just selecting different plants and putting them where we think they should go. Oh, it's gonna look so good with loads of little bits like this. Just adding detail everywhere.
so what's that one?
BUSINESS. Just a bit more sort of reddy tones to it. Just mixing up the colours. I've taken it off the rock because I can see a place where it can sit that doesn't actually need it. Look at that. Look. I'm pleased with that because you can see the difference in colours. Like that's what this is all about really. It's just creating those little pockets, different areas. So easy to do as well.
That little tank's been great. It's given you loads of gems.
Yeah, so whenever I break down the tank, if I see any good bits like this, I always stick them in some sort of tank and then come back to them at a later date, and they've always grown a little bit more, so it's a really nice boost. To be fair, this is quite big. I'm gonna borrow some from here. Oh, damn, we can remove any of the old leaves, and these are all the fresh growth. There we go, we've got some nice little pockets here. So I can use these to separate sort of little zones of what we've done so far. That just adds another colour pop, and I'm going to use the fresh ones that are a bit bigger all up in the top section. I think that'll look really good. Oh, get out, duckweed. Got it. I feel like now we've got this rock back here. I can place this, hopefully without dislodging it all. It's just going to add a little pop in that back section. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Yes.
Ooh.
Yes. Ties it in. Yeah, that looks good. Oh, I'm loving this. Looks completely different to the rest of the wall. So it's the next day, tank has cleared up beautifully, the plants look so good. But the good news is, our new plants have arrived from Nano Plants UK. Right, I ordered these yesterday, and they've come today. No, I ordered them the day before, they came yesterday evening, and now it's the morning, so I can't argue with that delivery.
Super tape.
That is good tape.
It's the best tape I've ever seen. Oh, wow, even the scissors struggled.
Oh, they're terrible scissors.
What have we got in here?
So the main thing I was after was this trident fern. I've got 3 pots of it here. I'll get them out in a minute.
That's 5.
Oh. It's because I was holding for it. That's 5, you're right. Well done, Stefan.
Numbers. Nailed that.
There we go. So what we've got here is 10 glossostigma. 10 glossostigmas for a project coming up. 10 Eleocharis for a project coming up. And 10 Liliopsis brasiliensis for a project coming up.
What project's coming up?
So yeah, we're going to be doing like a high CO2, 4-foot iwagumi style grasses and things like that, and then like a really cool school in there, you know, real contemporary look. So we don't need all of those now, but we do need at least some of these, maybe all of these.
Oh yeah, luscious.
I wanted them because they stay quite small, you know, and it's a small tank, so it makes sense. So I've got 5, obviously. 5 takes up a nice sort of size space. Say, 5 takes up a lot of space. But I'm not going to put them all in together. I feel like I want to sort of dot them, but make them look sort of cohesive.
More?
Yes, this here is one of my favourite buses. It's called Bucephalandra Sordidula Blue. Even though it doesn't look blue under this lighting, it looks a little bit different under, like, if you've got blues or RGB lights, which we don't, but it'll still look good. Right, I want it to sit like kind of as its own independent island. The rock is different to the rest of the rock, so I don't really want to see that. So what I can do is this. So Steph made a good point. He said he likes the negative space here just to give a better sense of depth and island composition, I suppose, as well. So if I move this across a little bit, we still get that, but we can still see the beautiful plant.
Lovely.
But now this area looks a bit odd, so just want to close that gap a little bit. I can still put stems in this as well, just don't put them in the substrate. A lot of stems can do really well, just like with their roots floating on the substrate, they'll work their way in, because they can pull a lot of nutrients from the water column. And because we're going to be dosing leaf zone, that means we're going to have nutrients in the water column, so we can put some stems in just for some colour pops if we want in the background.
And presumably fish poop will contribute to...
Fish poop, yeah, all of that. You know, water change is also remineralised to a degree as well, depending on you know what water you use, but we've got decent water, so yeah. This tank was getting definitely overcrowded, so this is a good move. Yeah, so this one's slightly different. I can't remember the name of it, but it is a form of boost. It's got some really nice pinks in it as well. So I've got some nice reds here that I've collected up from some other tanks, stem plants. We've got Rotala hra and some Ludwigia grandulos as well. Just putting a little plant weight on them so that they can sit at the back just on top of the substrate, and they'll just continue to grow really good. Obviously plants grow better when they've got a nutrient source in the substrate, but certain stems like these can still do really well. They probably won't be as vibrant and punchy, but they're still going to look good. Got some more little bits of moss just to tie in those edges a little more. Eventually, hopefully this will go all the way across. So in keeping with the theme of having lots of little different plants, just a little pop of Hydrocotyl tripetita over in this area. Not too much, just a little accent. And that will sort of creep amongst all of the plants as well in those areas. It's quite easy to remove if it gets too much as well. Everything is done, planting is done. We've given it a little bit of time, we just had some lunch. And as you can see, it's all gone really nice and clear again. It means we can put the fish in. And these are the fish that we're gonna be adding into the tank. So these are like a special metallic guppy, and they look so good, don't they? So some of you guys who are like veterans to fish keeping might be thinking, guppies, really? But they're like most popular fish for a reason. Great coloration, breeding is fun, they're quite hardy. It takes quite a lot to not get on well with a guppy as your first fish. That like the ranges that they can like sort of live in is quite vast. And even if they're not a first fish, I'm still drawn to them every time I go to the fish shop. I'm like, oh, what sort of like colour strains and stuff like that they've gone in. So I just think it's a really good choice for a first fish tank. Mainly like the breeding as well. It's just always fun, even for me now when I see new guppy babies, I'm like, oh, what they're gonna be, you know, because to start with they all look the same, but eventually they get their colour traits and stuff. It's just really interesting. All right, just put a bit of their tank water in this little pot. Oh, I could almost have scooped them up then.
That's how friendly they are.
The good thing about guppies is they're normally quite easy to catch. See? Although I can't pull this out now. There we go. Jump back. This is just temporary, guys. Chill out. Oh, there's a baby.
Ah, there is a baby.
They've been breeding. That one's going in as well.
That's exciting.
Oh, crikey. See? Oh, yes. Oh, we've already got our first baby.
Which means there's probably more.
There's definitely more. I might just leave the rest in there though. This one's obviously big enough to be out in the open, which means that, yeah, it's in there. And there's one more. Oh, there we go. Last female.
I see another baby.
The good thing about this one is that these kind that we've got, these specific guppies, is the females look awesome as well, because sometimes the females can look a bit plain, but the, oh no, this net really is not very good.
She's wise to what you're doing.
She's very smart actually. They're normally easy.
Smart for a guppy.
And you go, my lovely. Whee! It's almost like they know where the water is. There we go, look. Got all of them. There's a baby. I'm just going to keep that one because it's obviously fun with those because it was out in the open, like I say.
It's very hard to see them. There's one there.
There's like there's loads. There's actually loads. I'm just going to leave them in this tank and keep feeding it. Because technically there's no reason why they shouldn't get huge now. That's great. And when you think this is an odd tank, because a lot of people say that guppies to breed and that they need like a slightly higher pH or higher calcium carbonate. So like a harder water. This has got a massive chunk of driftwood in it, quite algae-ish, and they're still breeding, so yeah, great. That's literally what I was just talking about, like how exciting it is when you see babies. I've seen guppy babies thousands of times, but that was still exciting.
It's my first time.
That's your first time seeing it? No. Well, that fresh, I guess.
That fresh.
Yeah. So it's exciting, isn't it?
Fresh out the guppy womb.
It's quite easy to snub. It's quite easy to snub the bread and butter fish if you're more advanced. But sometimes you just gotta really think about, like, don't be a fish snob. You know, you can be, I just want the rare and no, they've all got their own little traits that make them great. Right, here you go, guys. If you can breed in here as prolifically as you have in that previous one, that would be great. Oh, there's a little baby one. So typically with guppies, what they tend to do to start with is stay a little bit still, hang around at the top, then they'll start exploring, and then they'll just be comfortable. And predominantly they are sort of top end of the water, that's where they like inhabit most of the time. But when they get comfortable, they do tend to go everywhere, especially when you've got a million babies and they all start growing and that as well. Oh, they look really, really nice. Right, now the fish are in, it's time to add a couple of products. First one is going to be leaf zone. All of these plants here are like eating effectively or gaining nutrients from the water column. That's where leaf zone comes in. So as with any bottles from any company, this is always shake them up because sediment will, sink. So just follow the instructions on the back of the bottle. For this size tank, I'm gonna need about 5 ml, it says. I've got a ton of plants here, and you might not start with this many plants, so don't like change from what it actually says. But if you do have a lot of plants in your tank like mine, I'm gonna do a little dribble over, just to make sure. So that is just over 5 ml. Get it in the filter a bit. There we go. So a lot of people ask me like how often you should dose leaf zone, and for me, I tend to do it whenever I've like topped up the water from evaporation, which tends to be about once a week on average. Some tanks a little bit, more, a little bit less, but on average about once a week. I fill the water up, add in the leaf zone, and then just leave it. I mean, most of the time I've got these bottles with the cap still on, and I just pierce a little hole, and I just tend to go around and go shh, 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 because I've got so many tanks and measuring takes forever, but I'm quite good with my eye now, and I've just spilt that all over my hand.
You've been leaf zoned.
And the second product to add is Quick Start. So this is beneficial bacteria to add to the system. Now, although I've kept the sponge all in this tank, so it's like still got its beneficial bacteria in it, I've taken everything else out of the previous tank, rocks, plants, any of the substrate that's down there. So I've removed a ton of beneficial bacteria. I mean, yes, we haven't got a high bioload, but I always like to stick some Quick Start in whenever I change around a tank or start a new tank. So for this one, again, shake it up. I basically need about a capful and a little bit for luck.